I'm Kishai Chad, and let's queer up politics. Viral post alleges Senator Lindsey Graham hired a trans sex worker, reigniting debate over hypocrisy. Following the reported death of U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham, a viral social media post by transgender author and actress Jesse James Rose has sparked widespread discussion across LGBTQ+ communities. Rose alleged that Graham, who consistently denied being gay during his lifetime, paid her for sex work before her gender transition while she was a college student. In the post, she wrote, quote, "Most of you know him as the homophobic senator from South Carolina, but to me, he will always be the man who paid a Twinkie pre-transition college student a fat stack of cash to do unspeakable things to him in a hotel room while he wore red lingerie," unquote. Rose concluded her post by writing, quote, "Lindsey, rest in hell for what you did to our community. I will continue to love queer and trans people harder than you ever hated us," unquote. The allegation has not been independently verified. However, the post quickly gained traction online, with many commenters praising Rose for speaking out and calling attention to what they viewed as the hypocrisy of anti-LGBTQ+ political rhetoric alongside the allegations. Graham, who served in the U.S. Senate since 2003, opposed marriage equality, voted against workplace protections for LGBTQ+ people, supported restrictions on gender-affirming care for minors, and backed legislation including Sesta Fosta and the Earn It Act, criticized by sex worker advocates.
Let have. Read.
It is okay to do the bending or be bent over. And it is so unfortunate that Lindsey Graham spent his life hating himself and not only punishing the LGBTQ community for existing, he was very happy to send money to a genocide. He was also very happy to participate in the enabling and the ego stroking of the person who's allegedly the president. And this story does not surprise me, even if we're talking about Brian Noam. I mean, there's so many Republicans in the party who have sex like the rest of us. It's just so unfortunate that so much of their it's just so unfortunate that they spend so much of their political life creating so much conflict and causing us so much harm. And on a side note, I'm actually really pleased with what Hunter Biden wrote about Lindsey Graham. I thought that was a great way of not sanitizing what he did while he was alive, but acknowledging the harm he did without going below the belt. I am disappointed, however, in Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, and Cory Booker because it's presenting him in a light as just this nice senator when he did a lot of very harmful things. It's okay to acknowledge what people did.
Yeah. Well, the reason he never supported things that were LGBTQ is because he is not gay. He is a self-loathing homosexual. And there is a very, very big difference between being a homosexual and being gay. And let me just say, may this be just the beginning of the endlessly flowing stream of people bravely coming forward to give Lady G her long overdue debutante balls. I mean ball.
Wow.
I think the most shocking thing was the red lingerie. I didn't see really that shocked me.
It is a color chart.
Right?
Yeah, it just didn't seem good for his skin tone. It's so milky and
never wore anything that looked good otherwise.
I thought maybe like a light, like a pale pink might be nice.
I like a combination of leather and lace, and I think maybe he would have done.
You know, I on a serious note, you know, this, I agree. I've seen so much online debate around people, you know, people in our community making, you know, attacks on him, and in ways that are but beneath us, in ways. And then I see people like this, with this claim and this allegation. And this allegation, let's just be clear, is not the only person. And,
Right.
and
Correct.
and again, for most people, yes, what are the point of allegations? There's no lawsuit or money that's being claimed or being asked for. Is it for notoriety? Is this a notoriety that anybody really wants? I don't think so. So,
Yeah.
the intent for me is a big question mark for people. And the intent of this is really to say, like, he's gone now, and I'm putting my voice out there of like what this person was about. And I think that I agree with Greg. I hope more people do come forward, because there are tons of stories that exist around this individual who has a long career and probably has, been able to cover up or push things down in the media because of his level of power.
Yeah.
Especially in a state, where if there are things that happen in South Carolina, it's a very small state. You have a lot of you have more power probably there.
Oh, sure.
Other,
Wow.
a senator
about
from
that.
California versus a senator in South Carolina is very different.
You very likely have met your senator in South Carolina.
Yes. And everybody knows, you're much more interconnected in those ways. So I do think that there's probably going to be more to this story.
I don't want to say anything shady about the late senator. I mean, I will, but no, I won't. I don't want to say anything shady. But a quote does come to mind when Betty Davis was asked for a quote when Joan Crawford died. And she said, I always heard you should say something good about the dead. She's dead. That's good. And so I don't know why that story came to me. I don't know why this popped in my head just now, unrelated to whatever's going on. The thing about Lindsey Graham, though, I don't care if he has a six-way with a pine tree and whatever. I don't care. I don't care anything about. And I don't even so much care that for proximity to power, he compromised himself. What I hate about him is what he did legislatively to hurt people. And yeah, you're hurting people like you. Fuck that. You're hurting people. And that should be the thing that makes you just not want to do that, right? And so yeah, that's what is unforgivable to me. Not what he does in the bedroom, not how much he hated himself, not even the hypocrisy. That's his hell that he had to live and die with. What I hate is that human lives suffer more than they needed to because of his job. And proximity to power is so important to him that he's against Trump until he's for him, and then he's mad at him until he loves him. And so I'm surprised that he bothered to be closeted when he so publicly filleted the president over and over and over. So
yeah, the story, one of the, I think it was Joe Scarborough on Morning Joe was called in about Lindsey Graham, and obviously they came into the Senate at the same time, or the House at the same time, and he, in a positive light, referred to him as a shapeshifter because of his ability to, and like that is to me like the most soulless, like I never want to be called a shapeshifter. Like I hope when I show up, you're like, I know what Jeff's about. Like he's the same person every time he shows up. So it's the most political, I think the thing that's the most disgusting thing that people don't like about politicians is like, what do you really stand for? And obviously this person didn't know what he stood for, and he also didn't know what he laid down with because of
oh my God.
he's confused. Let's just put it that way.
And with that, I remind you, there is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.